Let me be blunt with you. Right now, you're probably making the exact mistake that's killing your chances with her. And the worst part? You think you're doing everything right. You either give her too much attention and wonder why she disappears, or you pull back to create mystery and she calls you emotionally unavailable. You're swinging between two extremes, and neither one is working. And here's what you don't realize. Both approaches fail because you're only focused on one reason women fall in love while completely ignoring the other. See, women need two things to fall in love with you. Not 10 tips, not a complicated strategy, just two core reasons. But here's the trap. These two reasons seem like opposites. So most men pick one, go all in, and then act surprised when she loses interest. You're not broken. You're not doing it all wrong. You're just unaware that you're giving her half of what she needs. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which half you're missing, why that's been sabotaging you, and how to fix it starting today. Now, I'm not saying this to make you feel bad or to blame you. That's not what this is about. I'm telling you this because once you understand these two reasons, everything changes. You stop guessing. You stop overanalyzing every text. You finally see the pattern. Here's the truth. Most dating advice won't tell you. These two reasons contradict almost everything you've been taught. Pickup artists focus on one. Nice guys focus on the other. Both are half right, which makes them completely wrong. And that's why you've been confused. So let me walk you through exactly what's been happening. Because before I tell you what the two reasons are, you need to understand why every other approach you've tried has failed. Here's what's really happening. You're playing tug of war with yourself. When she starts pulling away, you panic and double down on attention. You text more, you initiate plans, you try to prove you care, and what happens? She disappears even faster. So you think, okay, maybe I'm being too available. Maybe I need to pull back and create some mystery. So you do the opposite. You wait to text, you act busy, you create distance, and then she says you're emotionally unavailable or she's not sure where this is going. You're stuck in this impossible cycle because you don't understand what's actually driving her behavior. When you give her too much attention, you're killing one thing. When you pull back too hard, you're killing another. And neither approach works because she needs both at the same time. Most men spend years bouncing between these two strategies. They read an article that says, be more present and attentive, so they become that guy. It doesn't work. Then they read another article that says, create mystery and be unpredictable, so they try that. It still doesn't work, and they're left completely confused because technically they did everything right. But here's the problem. They're treating this like it's one or the other. Like you have to choose between being stable or being mysterious. And that's the trap, because you don't. So what are these two reasons that seem impossible to balance? Here's exactly what you're about to learn. Reason number 1, why emotional security makes her open to love in the first place. Reason number 2, why unpredictability keeps her attracted after she opens up. The paradox, why these two seem like opposites, but actually aren't. The integration, how to provide both at the same time without canceling either one out. And the 3 common mistakes that destroy one or both, so you know exactly what to avoid. Let's start with reason number 1 and why most men completely misunderstand it. Reason number 1 is emotional security. And here's where most men get it wrong. They think this means being predictable, always available, or saying yes to everything. That's not emotional security. That's just being a doormat. Emotional security is about creating a predictable emotional environment, not predictable behavior. It means she knows how you'll react emotionally when things get chaotic. She knows you won't freak out when she's moody. She knows you won't become needy when she's distant. She knows your emotional core is solid, even when everything around you isn't. Here's why this matters. Women can't fall in love when they're anxious or defensive. It's biological. When her nervous system is in fight or flight mode, her brain literally shuts down the bonding mechanisms. Oxytocin doesn't release, mirror neurons don't fire, She can't open her heart when she's worried about how you're going to react to her bad day or her moment of vulnerability. Most men think being stable means being boring. They think showing up consistently means there's no excitement. But that's not what emotional security is. Emotional security is staying calm when she's emotional. It's being the grounded presence in the room when everything feels chaotic. It's not reacting to her tests or her moods like they're personal attacks. Here's the counterintuitive part. Emotional security doesn't mean you're always there. It doesn't mean you drop everything when she texts. It means when you are there, she feels safe. When you do engage, your emotional state is steady. You're not anxiously waiting for her approval. You're not panicking when she pulls back. You're just solid. Think about it like this. Imagine she cancels plans last minute. The emotionally insecure guy freaks out. He asks what's wrong, if she's mad at him, if he did something. He makes her cancellation about him. The emotionally secure guy? He's calm. He says, "No problem. Hope everything's okay," and makes other plans. He doesn't punish her. He doesn't chase her. He just stays steady. That calmness is what creates emotional security. She learns that no matter what she does, your emotional state doesn't depend on her behavior. You're not reactive. You're not desperate. You're grounded. And that safety is what allows her to open up in the first place. But here's where most men get trapped. They nail emotional security, and then they wonder why she gets bored. They're steady, they're calm, they're reliable, and she loses interest. And that's because emotional security alone creates something dangerous. Comfort without desire. She feels safe, but she's not attracted. And that's where reason number 2 comes in. Reason number 2 is unpredictability. And no, this doesn't mean being flaky, disappearing for days, or playing mind games. That's not unpredictability. That's just being unreliable. What unpredictability actually means is she can't fully predict your next move, your next decision, or where your attention is going. Here's why this matters. Her brain is wired to respond to novelty and uncertainty. That's how dopamine works. Dopamine doesn't spike when things are predictable and comfortable. It spikes when there's anticipation, when there's a question mark, when she doesn't know what's coming next. That's what creates attraction. That's what keeps her thinking about you when you're not around. When you're completely predictable. When she knows you'll text first every morning. When she knows you'll always be available. When she knows you'll drop everything for her. Her dopamine system shuts off. There's no anticipation. There's no curiosity. You become background noise. And that's when she starts feeling like something's missing, even though you're doing everything right. Most men think unpredictability means being distant or cold. They think it means ignoring her or playing hard to get. But that's not it. Unpredictability is having a life she's curious about, not one that revolves entirely around her. It's making decisions based on what you want, not what you think she wants. It's variable response timing because you're actually busy with your life, not because you're playing a game. Here's the key difference. The guy who's trying to create mystery is still making decisions based on her. He's waiting to text back because he thinks it'll make her chase him. He's acting busy to trigger her attention. That's manipulation, and women can sense it. The guy who actually has unpredictability, he responds when he genuinely has time because he's actually doing something. His schedule doesn't revolve around her availability. His priorities don't shift based on her mood. Think about it like this. She texts you at 2 in the afternoon. The predictable guy responds immediately every single time. The fake mysterious guy waits exactly 3 hours every time because he read that somewhere. The actually unpredictable guy? Sometimes he responds in 10 minutes because he's free. Sometimes it's 3 hours later because he was in a meeting. Sometimes it's that evening because he was genuinely focused on something else. She can't predict it because it's not about her, it's about his actual life. That unpredictability keeps the dopamine active. She doesn't know when you'll engage. She doesn't know what your next move is. She doesn't know if you're thinking about her or focused on your mission. And that uncertainty is what keeps attraction alive. But now you're thinking, wait, doesn't this contradict reason number 1? How can you be emotionally steady and unpredictable at the same time? That's the paradox. And I'm about to explain exactly how to resolve it. Here's how you resolve the paradox. Emotional security is internal. Unpredictability is external. One is about your emotional core, how you react, what you value, where your boundaries are. The other is about your external life, your activities, your decisions, your availability. Think of it like a ship. Emotional security is the hull. It's solid. It's sturdy. No matter what storm hits, the ship doesn't fall apart. That's your emotional foundation. But unpredictability? That's where the ship sails. She doesn't know if you're headed to unknown islands or familiar ports. She doesn't know what adventure you're on. The ship itself is rock solid, but the journey is variable. Here's what this looks like in practice. Your values don't change based on her mood. Your boundaries stay firm regardless of her tests. Your emotional reactions are calm and measured even when she's chaotic. That's the predictable part, your character. But your schedule isn't built around her availability. Your response times vary based on your actual life. Your decisions prioritize your mission, not her approval. That's the unpredictable part, your behavior. So when she cancels plans last minute, your emotional response is steady. You're not angry. You're not punishing her. You're not freaking out. That's security. But you also don't sit around waiting for her to reschedule. You make other plans. You move on with your day. You don't revolve your life around her availability. That's unpredictability. See the difference? The security comes from your emotional groundedness. The unpredictability comes from the fact that you have a life she's not the center of. She knows how you'll feel, calm, grounded, respectful, but she doesn't know what you'll do. Will you wait for her? Will you make other plans? Will you reach out later? Or will you be busy with something else? This is why both are required. Security alone makes you boring because you become her emotional safety net with no life of your own. Unpredictability alone makes you chaotic because she can't trust your emotional reactions. But when you combine them, you're the man whose character she can count on, but whose next move she can't predict. And that's the formula for lasting attraction. Now you conceptually understand this, but the real question is, how do you actually implement this in your day-to-day interactions? That's what we need to cover next. The integration formula is simple. Predictable character plus unpredictable behavior equals lasting attraction. Let me break down exactly what this looks like in real scenarios. Predictable character means your values are non-negotiable. If respect matters to you, you don't tolerate disrespect just because she's having a bad day. If honesty matters, you don't lie to avoid conflict. Your boundaries stay firm. You don't bend your principles based on whether she's happy with you or distant from you. That's the foundation she can count on. Your emotional reactions stay measured. When she's upset, you don't mirror her chaos, you stay calm. When she pulls away, you don't panic or chase, you stay grounded. When she tests you, you don't react defensively, you stay composed. Your emotional core doesn't fluctuate based on her behavior. That's what creates the safety she needs to open her heart. But here's where unpredictability comes in. Your schedule isn't dictated by her availability. If she wants to hang out but you already have plans with friends, you don't drop everything. If she texts you in the middle of your workout, you respond when you're done, not immediately. Your decisions come from what you want, not what you think will keep her interested. Your response times vary. Sometimes you're available right away because you genuinely are free. Sometimes it's hours later because you were focused on work or a project or something else in your life. She can't predict your availability because it's based on your actual life, not a strategy to keep her guessing. Here's a real scenario. She sends you a paragraph text at 2 in the morning about something that's bothering her. The emotionally secure response is you read it with empathy, not frustration. You're not annoyed, you're not thinking, why is she being dramatic? That's the security. Your emotional state stays steady. The unpredictable part? You respond at 9 in the morning because you were asleep, living your own life. You're not staying up anxiously waiting for her to need you. You're not revolving your sleep schedule around her emotions. Another scenario. She cancels plans last minute. Security. You're calm. You say no problem. Unpredictability. You make other plans instead of sitting around hoping she'll reschedule. See how they work together? Be the man whose character she can trust, but whose next move she can't control. That's the integration. But here's where 90% of men destroy their chances. They make these 3 mistakes that kill one reason or both. And you need to know exactly what they are so you don't fall into the same trap. Mistake number 1, over-indexing on security. You become so focused on being emotionally steady, so available, so accommodating, that you kill all mystery. You text first every morning. You're always free when she wants to see you. You drop your plans when she's available. She respects you, maybe even loves you, but she's not attracted anymore. You've become the safe option, the comfort without desire. Mistake number 2, over-indexing on unpredictability. You become so focused on having your own life, on creating mystery, that you become emotionally distant. You're busy all the time. You never prioritize her. You're unpredictable to the point where she can't trust you emotionally. She's attracted to you, maybe even obsessed with you, but she can't commit because she doesn't feel safe. You've created desire without trust. Mistake number 3, switching modes based on her behavior. When she pulls away, you panic and flood her with security. When she gets close, you pull back and create distance. You're rewarding her withdrawal with attention and punishing her warmth with coldness. She has no idea which version of you is real, and that confusion doesn't create attraction. It creates resentment. The mistake underneath all of these is the same. You're making decisions based on her behavior instead of your own principles. You're reacting to her instead of staying anchored in who you are. And that's the difference between a man who keeps women attracted and a man who loses them. And that brings me to the hardest truth in this entire video, one that most men won't want to hear, but the ones who accept it will never struggle with attraction again. I've shown you the 2 reasons women fall in love. I've shown you how to balance them, but here's what I haven't told you, and this is going to sting. Most men fail not because they don't understand these 2 reasons, but because they refuse to accept that they're missing one. You're sitting here right now thinking, okay, I get it. I provide emotional security, or I'm already unpredictable enough. But she would disagree. And instead of developing the one you're missing, you're doubling down on the one you're already good at. Here's the brutal truth. The reason she lost interest isn't that she's broken, or that she's testing you, or that women are complicated. It's that you gave her one reason, but not both. And rather than looking in the mirror and admitting which one you lack, you blamed her behavior. You told yourself she's not ready for a relationship, or she's playing games, or she doesn't know what she wants. This isn't an attack, it's a mirror. Security-focused men become validation-seeking because they think more attention equals more attraction. Mystery-focused men become emotionally unavailable because they think more distance equals more desire. Both think they're doing it right because they're doing something. But half right is still completely wrong. The good news? Once you accept which one you're missing, you can actually develop it. Most men never get past denial. But if you're honest with yourself about whether you're team security or team mystery, you now know exactly what you need to work on. And that self-awareness is the difference between repeating the same pattern and finally breaking through. So let me ask you directly, looking at the woman who recently lost interest in you, or the one you're currently dealing with, which reason are you missing? Are you team security? The guy who gives too much attention, always available, texts first every morning, drops everything when she's free? Or are you team mystery? The guy who's so focused on his own life, so busy, so unpredictable that she can't trust you emotionally? Drop a comment right now. Say, team security or team mystery. Because once you admit which one you are, you know exactly what to work on. And if you can't figure out which one you are, that's the problem. You're bouncing between both without mastering either. And if this 20-minute video just explained years of dating confusion, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one where I break down exactly how to develop the side you're missing. Because understanding these two reasons is step one. Actually mastering both? That's where lasting attraction lives. That's where you stop losing women you actually care about. And that's the difference between men who repeat the same pattern and men who finally break through.